9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So what's up? Y'all riding the hardest?
Tiptoeing in my G5s. And nigga, if you ain't know, we been smoking Joe on the east side. On the east side. On the east side. We been smoking Joe on the east side. On the east side. On the east side. We been smoking Joe on the east side.
Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the vlog. Today I got an interesting one for you. A lot of people been inquiring and asking questions about the digital tail lights, the LED tail lights. So luckily I had a buddy of mine that stopped past, dropped his vehicle off, and we're gonna convert a set. So I'm gonna give y'all a step-by-step process on how to do the Digi-Tails set, the set of LED boards from Digi-Tails. You know, just step by step, just gonna show y'all a few little tips and little tricks that that help me along the way, or some things that might help you, you know, during the process, or you know what I'm saying, during your process, the installation. Decent set of taillights so I don't have to refinish them. It's fairly easy if you're mechanically inclined, you know, if you have any type of if you don't mind cutting stuff up, then this here it'll be easy for you, man. So stick around. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you click that bell because there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going on. Let's get to it, all right? Once the tail light is out on the back side, you got 3 pigtails. You got the reverse light, which sits at the very bottom. Then you have your 2 brake lights and turn signals. And if you're worried about the original harness being in the car or returning it back to the car later on in the future, then your best bet is to probably get a replacement harness and then hack on that one. Or if not, you're planning on keeping it for a while or planning on not getting rid of it, then it's okay to cut these off. But either way, these gotta go. So we got the tail lights out, and these are the pigtails I was telling you about. Now, let's say, no matter if you're using the original set or if you got the extra set, most of the colors are always going to be the same. Your green is always going to be your turn signal and your brake light. The brown is always going to be your running light, and of course black is your ground. Now the only difference is once you cut them down to size, a lot of these wires will automatically be eliminated, and I'll show you in further detail what I'm talking about once we get the harness completely out of the car and I lay the harness out for you. You know, it'll make better sense once I explain it to you. The driver's side, your brake lights and your turn signal is yellow. Same brown running light. And of course your black is your ground. These are the only 2 pigtails that you cut. Never cut the reverse lens. You still use that. Only thing is you're just gonna cut the 2 pigtails for the tail light. That's why I suggest getting the extra harness, because if you plan on putting the extra set back in the car later on down the line, or if you planning on, you know, converting back to the conventional style tail light, then you would definitely need the harness with the original pigtails on it. So if you got access to an extra harness, get it. That way you can cut it up and fab it up the way that you're gonna do it. If not, then it is okay. It's not gonna hurt anything. It's a lifetime warranty on the tail light board. So anything was to go wrong, worst case scenario, you just be out a few days until they give you a replacement, or however long that the wait is or the backup time is. Here we have the inside of the trunk on the driver's side. Now you got your marker light right there. I pulled a few pieces out, you know, for the sake of the video, you know, just to kind of speed the process up. But like I said, you got your marker light. Everything runs off the one harness. This is your 3rd brake light. Blue is positive. Blue with a black strip is negative. But this has nothing to do with the LED conversion. So you can basically unplug it and set it aside. This is your main harness here. Once you unplug that harness and unclip it from right here, this tab, once you unclip it and remove it, you can unclip this portion of it and then unbolt your main ground. While it's apart, go ahead, clean your ground off. That way you don't have no issues or anything like that. So unplug that, and it's a plastic piece right here. like a retainer or a clip, whatever you want to consider it. And it slides right over the harness. It holds the harness in place, and it seals it up against the body of the car. That way no water or anything leaks inside of the trunk of the car. So basically pull that off, it's easy. Pull it off, and then the harness pretty much pops right out. So once you unclip and unbolt everything, the harness should fall right back out, and then you'll be back on the outside of the vehicle to take the rest of the harness, to remove the rest of the harness off the vehicle. Alright, so we got the harness out of the car. Just wanted to show y'all real quick and go over a few things real fast before we go tearing it down. Alright, so these little metal clips that you see right here, that's mounted onto the harness itself, those are little clips that slide onto the body of the car. You'll see there's a little lip once you climb underneath of it. It's a little clip that's, it's a lip that these clip onto. I think a few of them clip onto the fuel tank. You basically unclip everything, unhook everything. These are your tag lights here. This portion of the harness, it loops around the fuel tank neck, the neck of the fuel tank. That's your passenger side. That's the driver's side with the harness that was inside the car. So keep that in mind, man, when y'all go unhooking everything, that these little clips here just crawl up underneath the car, unhook everything. Be careful, make sure you don't break none of the clips. Just take your time. Be real careful with this. This is your fuel sending unit. They give you the fuel level. So be careful with that because you have to unhook that. Just take your time, get everything out, lay your harness out. Take a nice little close look at it. Make sure there's no major damages or anything done to it before you move on to the next process. All right, so we're gonna move forward. Everything looks pretty good. We're gonna move forward and start to tear the harness down so I can show y'all a few little tips of my own that I personally do when converting these over to LED. All right, so you got your tail lights out. Make sure you set them down face down. Make sure you don't scratch the lenses up. Do whatever you got to do to your workspace to make sure that you don't damage anything while you're working and operating on the stuff. Make sure you have plenty of room too, because you're gonna need it. Especially once you get to the harness portion of it, you're gonna need plenty of room. So got your harness laid out, got everything laid out, got that prepped up, and I got my tail lights here. So first things first, of course, you're gonna take the trim pieces off, the trim panels off, and then you're just gonna have the bare tail light, the assembly right here in front of you. So let's just make it seem like these are gone. The trim bezel is gone, and we're working on the tail lights. So for the sake of the video, I'm just gonna explain to you what's going on back here. What you wanna do is cut a perimeter of the tail light out. So basically, you're cutting both pockets out. Usually I cut here, I start here on the sides of the pockets, go all the way around, and make sure it's level with this portion of the tail light housing. The reason I say that is because when you go to seal the boards onto the back of the tail light housing, this is where you're gonna seal up to, or this is where it pretty much it settles down and it seals to. So make sure that everything is even, make sure it's cleaned off. Whenever you're done, make sure you prep the edge of the tail light housing. And right here is very, very critical. You see this mounting surface right here? You see this mounting surface right here? You gotta make sure you cut a clean line all the way across, because it's gonna be real thin and you still have to seal it. So make sure you cut it clean across. On the board itself, it's gonna be some sections to where you can still, where it works around it. Where the grooves, it's grooved or notched to avoid interference with your tabs here. So no worries. I'm gonna show y'all that once we get the backside cut. I'm gonna show you exactly what the board, the design and layout is. All right, y'all, so let's move forward to the harness. All right, so basically what we got a side marker light that goes on a quarter, one tail light bulb, one tail light pig and bulb, just the reverse limb. So let's say you lay your harness out, you got these clips sitting right here. Remember, these clips, they sit and they slide on to the body of the car on the lip. Now these clips right here, you can pretty much clip them together. You clip them in, you clip them together, you can clip them off. And once you remove these clips, just for the sake of the video, I'm only working with one hand, so y'all gonna have to excuse me. Just trying to give y'all a little information, that's all. Alright, so let's remove these clips real quick. Let's pull some of this wiring back. I'm gonna show y'all something real quick. You can trace the wire back. You see that wire right there? Let me show y'all something. Come on back a little further. You can go all the way back. Where they got it taped up at, this is where most of your wires, this here is where most of your wires are joined together. Sometimes they're soldered, sometimes there's a little clip. Like I say, y'all gonna have to excuse me, I'm only working with one hand. All right, as you can see, this is the ground wire, so check that out. So most of the wires that you see here that's running off these pigtails, it all goes to one, you know, it's all joined together. Same thing here too, I'm gonna show you something else. This running light here, it's the same way. All your running lights, no matter where you at on the harness, so you got 1, you got 2, you got 3. There's 3 of them here. And then look, you got all 3 right here. Alright. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna trace all of your green wire. So look, one pigtail gonna have 2 of them. Same thing on the driver's side. Only difference is you're just gonna have 2 yellow and the one's gonna be red. I'm sorry, you're gonna have the 2 yellow and then the one pigtail is gonna have a single yellow. But really it's only one wire. Cause look right here. That wire ain't doing nothing but looping from one pigtail to the other. So it makes it look like it's 3 of them. So when you trace it all the way up, you got 1, comes down here, and then it loops, and then it goes up to that pigtail, leaving the other green wire. That's your main wire right here. You can trace it all the way back if you want, or you can just cut. You can cut at a certain point. So really, you can cut it here. No matter where you cut it at, I'm gonna show y'all real quick. All right, for video purposes only, you know, since I'm showing you guys. And I guess for my first timers, like I said, whatever goes on the passenger side, you're basically duplicating it on the driver's side, vice versa. So as you can see here, this is the upper pigtail with the 2 yellow wires. This is the 1 pigtail with the single yellow wire. Comes down to the main harness, and when it splits off, look, all your running lights runs to 1. All your grounds run to 1. Cut everything loose, find your main wire, clip everything else, and then you'll get one single yellow. Find out what you got over here. Look like they duct taped it from the factory. I'm not sure what the heck going on back then in the 80s. Cut that back. And when you cut that back, you get the, find out whatever your single power source is from there. Same here with the grounds. Whatever isn't being used, clip them back, use 1, and then that's where you're gonna hook your Digi-Tails harness up to. Now, some people, they splice and tape. Me personally, I suggest soldering. If you don't know how to use a soldering iron, there's plenty of other YouTube videos, or just send it to somebody and have them do it professionally. That way your car don't burn down or you run across any problem. Included with your Digi-Tails, your LED kit, you get 2 harnesses. These 2 harnesses here, they mainly plug into the back of the board, and they come with some extensions in case you want to extend the wire. Luckily, you don't have to use all of the wiring, you can cut it short. But along with these wires here, it comes with a separate wire right here. This is your 12 volt or your constant power wire here. So on your harness, everything's color coded according to the vehicle. So if you got it laid out, let's say if you got everything laid out here, right, get your close up on it. So your orange wire is your main power source, your black is your ground, green is passenger side, yellow is your driver's side, and then your brown goes to your running light. So brown goes to brown, orange goes to your new orange wire, green goes to the green wire, and yellow goes to the yellow wire. So if you're on the passenger side and you got a black, a green, and a brown, then only the brown, the green, and the black should get hooked up, along with the orange to orange. Because when you run your orange wire that comes with the package, what you're gonna do is you're gonna run it in the loom or along with the harness until you come all the way out to the tail light. Comes out towards the end where the bulb sockets will go at, that's where you're gonna hook up to. So, like I said, you got a brown, you got a black, you got your orange, and we got a green right here, all right? So, once we secure all this stuff up here, like your unions, tape all of that back up, or do whatever you need to do to secure it. That way it doesn't interfere with no other wires. Some people tape it up. Some people heat shrink it. If there's a way that you can get it all the way through and heat shrink it, that's even better. Orange wire goes to the orange wire on the harness. The green wire goes to the green, the black goes to the black, and the brown goes to the brown. All right, and when you're on the driver's side, it's the same way. The yellow goes to the yellow, the green doesn't get attached, the black goes to the black, the orange goes to the orange, and the brown goes to the brown. Now I'm gonna show you on this side here, all right? Now when you go to running it on this side, you're gonna have to do a union with the orange, because you got this here, like I said, is your main power source. This is what powers the board. It goes to a constant 12 volt power source. It only draws 3 volts of power, so it's nothing that's gonna drain the battery or anything. They prefer you to do constant 12 volt, I'm assuming, because if the key is off, you can still use the brake light, you can still use the hazard, or whatever, whatever that needs power. So This is the wire that powers the boards, and then whatever signal that gets fired to whatever board or both boards or whatever signal gets fired, that's what lights the board up. So constant 12 volt. Make sure you put a fuse link in it. Run your brown to your brown, which is your running light. Turn signal and brake light all runs off this one single power wire right here, which is your yellow, your brown for your running lights, and your ground. All right. So basically, this is the plug that was mounted to the body of the car. You're gonna run this through, because once you get on the inside of the car, you're gonna put a fuse somewhere in line, and then run the other end all the way up to your power source. Whatever your 12 volt power source is, that's what you're gonna run it to. You run it to the fuse box. I believe it's a wire in the trunk. It should be another orange wire in the trunk. According to the directions, I guess that would be the trunk light that has a constant 12 volt power source. You can tap into that. But whatever you do, put a fuse in line. That way you don't run across any issues, or if you do run across any issues, at least you can blow the fuse out before you go doing that. So secure your unions here. Secure them whichever way you prefer to secure them. Tape them up, loom it, heat shrink, whatever you got to do to protect this from being exposed, please do so. And then once we get to this portion of it, where we actually wire the harness into it, we'll cut these wires even to an even length or a suitable length, and then we will solder them. We will solder all the wires, heat shrink it, tape it up, and then go back to looming everything. But like I said, once you get to this portion of it where it goes out to the tail light portion, you gotta tee off of it. So go from the passenger side, run it all the way over to the driver's side, run it through, and then get an extra piece of wire, whatever's left, because you might have some extra left over. So here, I'm just gonna take this portion here and just tap into it like that, boom. So it'll be like a T. And then that portion here will go to the tail light, to the harness that goes into the board. All right, so if you made it this far in the video, this is a quick tip that I wanted to show y'all. I want to show y'all this because I get a lot of people that send me a lot of tail lights that other shops, other installers have installed. And it's mainly these two reasons why. It's something so simple. One, it's preparation on the backside of the housing, or not enough bite on the backside of the housing, not enough, I guess, adhesion promoter or whatever that they're using. Maybe it's the sealant that they're using and the board doesn't, I guess, adhere to the housing and it peels back a little bit. That's one reason. And then the main one that I get a lot of times is this connector. So coming off the harness to the female end on the back of the board. All right, so you have this female connector that's on the back side of it, and you have these three objects right here. This 1, 2, and 3. Now, when you clip this into it, let's clip it into it. As you can see, you're supposed to squeeze that and pull it back out. But what it does with the three objects on the female end, you can easily just pull it back off. So I guess after, riding and rattling around and hitting your bumps or whatnot, with it not being all the way clipped in, sometimes they fall back, they work themselves back, and then they end up falling out. Sometimes they just work itself out a little bit or vibrate itself loose a little bit, and then the board gets to flickering. Now, what I do with all of the people that I've done these for, what I usually do is I take a little razor and I cut the two ends out. Like I said, it's just plastic. So you cut this one off, shave it completely flat, leave the middle, and then shave the end. So this one here gets eliminated and this one here gets eliminated. Leave the middle. And then once you connect your harness into it, it clips in place and it locks in place. All right, so we got the harness done. Harness is installed. Got everything mounted up. reverse light socket. This is your harness right here. Everything's plug and play. Make sure you lube it up, put fresh lube on it. Another tip I want to show y'all, right? This retainer right here, or this clip right here, the tail light slides inside of it. Take a grinder, and you grind these tabs down a little bit, so that way the tail light slide inside of it. The reason I suggest that is because a lot of people have been having issues after the boards are set, after the board's been sealed or set, they've been having issues installing the tail light or setting it in place. So, and that's because the side of the tail light, when it comes down to this, you got to grind it down to allow enough room for the back side of the tail light, the tab on the tail light, and the board to slide down inside of it. So once you grind these down right here, grind it down a little bit, make some room, and it's basically these pieces right here that I'm pointing at. Grind them down, and then you'll be able to slide your tail light in. That way you can mount your tail light up. Alright, so look, check this out. In case your kit don't come with one, make sure y'all stop at your local Pep Boys or not Home Depot, Advanced Auto Parts, AutoZone. Get your EL12, heavy duty flash or LED flasher. You can order them online, Amazon, eBay. You can do that too. You can even order them on a Digi-Tails site. So if you just so happen you order a kit and you forget it, you can always stop at your local parts store and get you one. Me, I use the EL12. All right, guys, so we just finished up. Got the tail lights in, got the inside ran, the orange power wire that ran inside that we teed off, that went from the passenger side to the driver's side earlier on the clip. When we was doing our harness, we teed it off and routed it inside. Now use the inline fuse, link, and then run the wire to a constant 12-volt power source. Once you do that, the lights, everything should be functioning. Said, man, you can route your wires any type of way that you want. Once you get it inside the vehicle, make sure you clip everything in place. Make sure you ground your main ground back where it's supposed to be at. While you at it, just clean your ground off. Make sure your tail lights are all secure. Make sure everything's wired up right. Make sure everything is secure. That way nothing don't burn down. Please make sure you use an inline fuse. It's just a safety measure. So with that being said, man, we're just gonna close it out. We're gonna show y'all a few functions of the Digi-Tails LED tail lights, the way that they function. We out. Hope y'all like the video. Make sure y'all subscribe. I got more vlogs coming up, and shit, let's get to it, man. I know y'all want to see what they look like. So peace out, and we catch you on the next one. All right.